Om Aim Shri Hrim Saraswati Devi Namaha. 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 Move forward, go forward with creation. Whoa, whoa, weave creation. Move forward, go forward with creation. Whoa, whoa, weave creation. From my heart to my hands, to my feet, to my legacy, to family, to friends, to beloved community. Move forward, go forward with creation. Whoa, whoa, weave creation. Move forward, go forward with creation. Weave creation.
We dedicate our efforts to a springtime of humanity, where all humanity makes a leap in consciousness and realizes the unity and divinity of all life, where we cherish our Mother Earth as our own dear mother, where we share with each other as brothers and sisters for all my relations. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste, my friends. Any questions about the Gayatri Pranayama or anything you experienced in that work? Or any questions about energy or consciousness that you want to bring to our circle that you'd like to raise this morning?
I'm always a little delighted to hear anything you have to say about astrology.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, well, you're so wise to be studying astrology. It's just such valuable. Are you into Western or are you into Jyotish?
Western. I mean, I'd like to be into both, but it's such a rabbit hole that I have to stick with what I just like everything else. The more I get into it, the farther back I feel I am, everything's a bottomless pit.
Yes, yes. Well, I resonate more with the Western. They say the Western is geocentric, and so it resonates more with our experience, while the Jyotish is heliocentric and is on a higher dimension, and so yeah. Well, you've seen my work on the astrological glyphs. In my understanding, the astrological glyphs are not glyphs, not arbitrary carriers, not symbols, arbitrary carriers of meaning, but are archetypal energy patterns. That again, the body is a microcosm of the cosmos, and all of the forces and all of the powers and all of the dimensions of creation are represented fractally in the body, or represented in the microcosm holographically. So so let's look, for instance, at fire. So Aries, fire is the first sign of the zodiac, and here we see the glyph for Aries here, and that's an energy field which radiates from the third eye, and then radiates into the two lobes of the brain. Can everyone see that energy field? How the supposed ram's horns are really this energy field of the two lobes, the seed sprouting. So the root of manifestation, the root of fire, which is creative energy, is inspiration. And so we live in this ocean of prana, of universal creative energy. And this prakriti, the prana manifests as nature. Pra means to go forth, Vrit means to turn, the spiraling positive breath of life. And it's at the third eye that universal energy becomes personal energy and radiates up into the two lobes of the brain, which are a microcosm of the mental plane. So here we're seeing Aries, which is the first step in our individuation, where universal energy steps down through the third eye and then radiates up into the lobes of the brain as the fire of vision, as inspiration, the first step in the manifestation of fire. And then the second glyph that we have in the fire triad, you can see, is Leo. And here you see the liver and the diaphragm and the spleen there, okay? And you see how, again, it's another major feature energetically of our body is embodied in the glyph. And the solar plexus is the center of our personal power. And at the very heart of our creation, as we embody our vision, and as we embody our standpoint in the world. And then the third glyph we see is here at the navel, the fire center, at the dantian, and here we see the thighs, radiating that energy into the thighs and pushing against the earth to give birth and to manifest our fire, our personal power, our creative expression in the earth. So we're seeing three planes of fire manifesting as these fields of the body. The thighs, ruled by Sagittarius, are where we walk our talk and where we physicalize and express in the world our vision and our intention. If we look at air, we can certainly see the spine, Ida and Pingala of the spine here in the glyph for Gemini. We can see the kidneys where we maintain our balance of love and fear in the glyph for Libra, and the ankles, which represent our basic standpoint and direction, the values that we're pursuing on Earth. So the spine, Gemini, represents where we're at, who am I kind of thing. I very much I am, and I love, and here are the values here in Aquarius down, which represents our basic standpoint and direction that we're pursuing. Then with water, I feel. You see how the breasts are embodied in Cancer. The reproductive organs in Scorpio, and then Pisces, where the feet and the mystery of our separateness and our individuation and our being part of unity. And then here with Earth, we see Taurus embodying the archetype of receiving the energy from above, twisting it into the torso. So that's this energy field that receives which is a moon, a receptacle, receiving the energy from above, in this case, the inspiration of Aries. And the neck is the nexus of our etheric body, which mediates between the subtle universal elements and our material elements, and brings that into the torso. The Taurus means to twist into the vortex of the torso. And then here we see Virgo, and manifested in the colon, the ascending, transverse, descending colon. And then here's Capricorn, where our knees here press against the earth in our manifestation. So we're saying that the astrological glyphs are archetypal energy fields, and that these 12 archetypal energy fields interact on fundamental levels to underlie the psychology and energetic dynamics of the body. Thoughts or questions?
I just had one clarification. I wanted to make sure I heard that right in the, I think it's, oh, I can't see because the third over, where isn't Pisces is up top, right? And Cancer, water element.
No, Pisces is the water element, on the bottom is the feet. So here are your 2 feet.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that was a symbol for Pisces. I thought that was Cancer. So thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I'm not sure how else they usually talk about the glyph for Pisces, Elizabeth.
Well, one thing that I've heard that I find really interesting is that Aries and Pisces are so related because they're kind of next to each other if you put it into that circle. And that Aries has that, if you actually look at the sky, there's the idea of moving into kind of the future, and the Aries thing actually happens. If you were to look at an astronomy program, you would see the sky sort of, the stars kind of circling away if you were moving through space. And that Pisces has something on the kind of back end of that. So that's kind of an interesting way of looking at it from my point of view, that they kind of come together again in the rear view mirror of it.
Yes, yes. So we're always talking about a cycle, and so they're very much connected as the end and the beginning of the cycle, and they blend into each other. Great, great. Thank you. Other thoughts, questions, reflections? I've never really seen this developed by anyone else. This is kind of one of my unique contributions of Mr. Berger's neighborhood. But there's a certain amount of sense here, like any way of seeing it. It has some insights, but it also, is limited.
But also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
Go. I was just going to briefly say I really appreciate the moving it out of symbols and into some type of grounded space within the body, but also relating like how we have all of those within us, like that. That was just, it's really I appreciate that viewpoint. That was all.
Yes, yes, yes.
I wanted to say that the organs related to the Leo glyph, I don't know, it just hit home in a whole new way, and that was extremely enlightening. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, the organs are really important as centers of consciousness. That mental and emotional imbalances are rooted in organic imbalances, that as we heal our bodies, we heal our heart, mind as well. So that often the states of consciousness are very much a reflection of the health of our body. And, we can strengthen the kidneys to deal with fear or anxiety, strengthen the heart to deal with courage. Like I always felt like I didn't have enough courage, so I've always taken heart tonics, hoping that it would give me more courage facing life. I think it has. I feel more courageous than I did many years ago. So if you feel like you need more courage, yes. I think Maya was the first one that turned me on to Hawthorne. And I've taken Hawthorne daily for many, many, many years in a tincture form. It's interesting the ways we touch each other's lives. So another aspect of the work that I shared that, a lot of people talk about these 5 elements that are the basis of astrology. Astrology, well, let's go back to our chart here. the 5 elements, ether, air, fire, water, earth, and astrology is the study of these 4 elements in their 3 polarities, give you the 12 signs of the zodiac, neutral, positive, negative, neutral, positive, negative, neutral, positive, negative, neutral, positive, negative. Okay, so you see the same polarity. So there's nothing more, in the work that we do. I again argue that each of us, I profess that each of us is the personification of an instant of the cosmos, that you are the signature, or you are the cosmos written in that unique instant, that you personify that unique instant of totality, and that you are that totality expressing its creative intelligence in personhood, aligned with the moment of your first breath, and that your life is the unfolding of those dynamics of the universe, essentially, and that your sacred dharma is to be present in your experience. And your presence, we talked about, this creative intelligence, not merely as intelligence, but as will and as the wisdom of the experience of infinite lifetimes of creation. And that your dharma is to be present in your experience and to somehow become part of that totality of wisdom and compassion and strength and courage and love and all of the qualities that imbibe in this creative intelligence. So this again reflects into the sacredness of everyone's vulnerability, that each of us is a unique constellation of the powers and gifts and qualities of the mystery, and each of us has a unique sacred service to perform, to be true to ourselves and to explore and find ourselves and find the courage to be. The question for each of us is, how alive can you handle being? How true to yourself can you handle being? I've had a couple times in life, this long journey of life, where I've betrayed myself, in different ways. And to face that and deal with it, yes, it's a humble condition, being human. But here, we say these things in just a few words, but it's just, part of the gift and part of the responsibility of being human. Some thoughts as we explore some of these questions. Who I am and what am I doing here? So your work is to be true to yourself and to be fully present in your experience. Now, another aspect of the work that I share, which I feel is unique and insightful, is the word guna is usually translated as quality. And the word guna comes from Sankhya. And Sankhya is said to be the oldest philosophical treatise that we have on the earth. And it's the basis of all Oriental philosophy. That Bodhidharma brought Sankhya to China. It influenced Vietnam and Japan, Cambodia, Thailand, were all influenced by Buddhism, which has its roots in Sankhya. And Sankhya is a dualistic philosophy. There's a matter of spirit and matter. Spirit is Purusha, and Purusha means the self of everyone and everything. So this is this cognizance, this is this intelligence that we find ourselves contemplating again and again and again. This is what's actually alive in you, is Purusha, Sat Purusha. I guess I have to look up what the roots of Purusha is to go deeper into what Purusha means. But it is the life in each of us, the capacity to be present, to comprehend, to be cognizant of our experience. And again, there's only one life. It's the same life in all of us. And this life is unborn, undying, everywhere, always. And then there is Prakriti, Purusha, there's spirit and matter. Prakriti, pra, to go forth, rit, to turn, nature, the vibratory fields which take spirit into time and space and causality here in our dimension. And one of the first transformations that happens to this life breath of Prakriti is its movement into the cycle of neutral, positive, and negative, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And this rhythm being at the root of the 5 elements as well. And so it's important to understand that on every field, the body as a macrocosm of the atom, and we're looking at the way in each breath, in the macrocosm, right down to the microcosm, in each breath, the body is taken through a cycle of natural and cosmic attunement. In each breath, there's a lengthening of the tissue on a molecular, on an atomic and molecular and cellular and organic level. And this musical instrument has always been made out of guts and hides. And this lengthening of the tissue changes the pitch of the tissue and our cosmic and natural attunement. So first there's a lengthening to what we call Sattva guna. And the word guna, according to Theos Barnard, is better translated as vortex, though the quality of this vortex underlies the quality. Guna is usually translated as quality. So first there's, in each breath, there's an attunement to the source, neutral attunement, where the tissue stresses into a higher octave of connection with self, with source. Then as we inspiration, the tissue balloons out into a solar attunement, and we receive the radiance of the sun, Rajas guna, and we move into a Rajasic field of inspiration, of coming into fire, the creative, the power of creation, the passion, the fire, the warmth, the vision of creation. And then as we continue to breathe, the field collapses and contracts into a lunar attunement of Tamas guna. So each breath is a cycle through neutral, positive, negative, source, solar, and lunar, an attunement through the fundamental energies of life, of sun and moon and source. And then in that process of fire, and then a still point, which balances the forces within, without, above, and below, which we call earth, and then water, and then coming up again, another still point of ether. So ether, air, fire, earth, water. So the cycle is a cycle of attunement to the 5 elemental keynotes, the 5 elemental harmonic, which underlie earth, the boundary, solidity, water, the fluid medium for life, mother, fire, the creative personal power, passion, warmth, air, the underlying intelligence, the incredible harmony of the cosmos, the incredible precision, which makes every atom, every molecule, every cell what it is, as it self-corrects, maintaining its place in the logos, and ether, which mediates between these different dimensions of consciousness. So I'm pointing to the reality of the embodiment of these elements, that they're not just that cross-culturally and transhistorically, all of the science of the ancients and the science of the ancients were quite advanced, as we see in India or Egypt, and they had interdimensional powers. In Egypt, they find vestiges of batteries. In India, there are stories of flying saucers and galactic weapons. And of course, our mathematics and our science trace back to India, and advanced surgery techniques were developed in India thousands of years ago. And these elemental keynotes cross-culturally and transhistorically were the foundation of the science of the ancients, and they still have a tremendous explanatory power in psychology. Thoughts or questions as we look at the breath and the fundamental nature of the breath as a vehicle for attuning us to nature and the cosmos and these forces within. Maya, please unmute.
Let's see if I can. You know, one of the thoughts that is really alive in me listening to you is, what do you think, how to strengthen our systems, our elements, our relationship to our own inner cellular capacities to metabolize, how we are entering into a future that is clearly necessary to include or live with, or even you know, all the different frequencies that our technologies is bringing. There is a new, I feel I need to develop a new capacity to metabolize toxins.
Yeah.
You know, all the plastics, all chemistry, whatever, they're not going to go away. How can I, within all these deep understandings of how our body is in relationship with these larger forces, how can I include, versus trying to separate myself from all these things, is certainly one way I have been living. But I feel, in my experience, I need to, and I'm curious what you say, how to start to actually live with these things, live through these things with the capacity to stay balanced and healthy.
Yes, it's challenging because the things that we do to stay healthy make us more sensitive. And so there lies the challenge. But, you know, traditional people had lived in psychic protection. That all of and used all these things for psychic protection. So that the first thing you did when you entered a house is you wash your hands. And water is an energy sink. So water is very magnetic. It's very attractive. So when you wash your forearms, wrists, and hands, it literally attracts the energy, and then water's a negative vortex that is cleansing, that is magnetic, that attracts impurities, and then water's an energy sink that is always grounding that and carrying that down to the ground. So do you understand what, whenever we put our wrists or hands in cold water, we become part of that vortex in our etheric, and then through entrainment, physical body. Think about when you take a shower and the cleansing that comes from that shower. You go into that shower, coming out of a night, you're groggy, you're, stoned, you're hungover, whatever, and you come out of that shower and you feel nearly human, or maybe even bright and wonderful. That shower, because you are the same water, and here's this living water flowing over you, which is much more innocent than what you've done to the water in your psyche. And there's a tremendous cleansing that happens when that water flows, when your water's in train with the water around you. So water is one of the foundations that we use for psychic protection. And in nature, water's always, always running. And when the water flows, it respires. It aligns with the spiration. So in India, you'd never take a bath. You're always pouring water over you so that it will respire and come back into alignment with spiritus. And that when you take water to your lips, you bring its essence into your purest core. So in a traditional household, when you walked in the house, you washed your hands, maybe even washed your feet, and you were given water to drink, so that the well that was the essence of that home, and whatever purity there was in that home was in that well and in that water. You took that water in to tune you in and to the nurturance and the gifts of that family and that home and that place and that homestead. So that and again, a home also had a hearth in the center with a fire that was often, a fire that may not have gone out for generations. And again, fire, anytime you have fire sings in a higher octave. And this higher octave purifies the atmosphere. So so fire puts out these overtones that purify the atmosphere around it. So whenever you want to do anything sacred, you light a candle, you make a sacred fire in the center of your teepee. A good Hindu begins every day with a homa, a fire offering in some pure cow dung. Again, that fire purifies the atmosphere. In India, at Shanti Kunj in Hardwar, they practice yagna therapy, where they use a fire ceremony to heal. And they understand that as you throw these different substances into the fire, it resonates and entrains with our etheric body and heals particular aspects. In their thousands of years of experience, we use homeopathy for this, we use herbs for this, and we use yagna therapy for this condition or that condition, that psychological or that physical condition. So they've studied this in their computer lab. And they've shown that the ghee and the kumkum and the other substances that are thrown in the fire, the rice, each one has its own unique resonance in the etheric body and its own dimension of healing. So traditional people, were using air. They were, making sure their clothing hung on the line in the sunshine, using fire, using water, using earth, using sage, using cedar. You burn these sacred herbs. Sage purifies the atmosphere. Also, you can do, the issue for us is going out into the world. And so here you want to cover your throat chakra with silk and your core with silk, with beautiful colors, with beautiful tie. You want to have a big leather belt with a Jupiterian buckle, a big metal buckle around your power center, like a Hell's Angel, to protect your personal power and to radiate Jupiter's expansion. Mars is metal protection. Think of people live in the ghetto. You have a long black leather skin that you wear, long black leather boots. You don't go downtown in Birkenstocks, tank top, and shorts. So I would recommend, I guess, wearing more black leather, and just looking at what the people in the ghetto are wearing to protect themselves, and just understanding these things in terms of psychic protection. Actually, the way you do it is you have a big SUV, a big black SUV with a big boombox in it. And if you have to go somewhere, you either do it in Zoom or you do it in your SUV. I don't know. So this is a pretty gross answer, but I guess I gave a lot of levels to this question of psychic protection. Ultimately, though, what we're talking about here is the power of self-knowledge and building up equanimity to really knowing who you are, because the issue for each of us is our vehicle is this vulnerable vehicle, this vulnerable ego and its body. And the ego is, if you think of your body as a spaceship for traveling through time and space, and that here you are in this amazing, amazing spaceship, it's very, very high maintenance, and especially the ego part, the guidance mechanism of this body is very high maintenance because it's so deeply sensitive and so vulnerable. So I guess it's a life's work to cultivate detachment and equanimity. So as you guide your spaceship through time and space, you're not thrown off by all the passions and all the winds of it all. But we come back to the root teachings, of the wisdom traditions, which talk about the pain of our attachments and the freedom that comes with detachment. And the thing that we're most attached to is our sense of who we are. So somehow we can deepen our sense of who we are from one that is dependent upon external conditions to one that is largely independent of the external. I guess we can find some more levels of strength. So I hope that addressed that question on a number of different levels. You're welcome to pick and choose from those that you might find helpful. Chayla and I did a couple of tapes on couple of talks on psychic protection, which are there in the Berger archives on YouTube somewhere. So, and one of the things that I have articulated over the years is the mathematics of the golden ratio spiral are the mathematics of the life breath of a living universe. And last week we were beginning to look at our archetypal energy field of a horned Taurus, and understanding that that energy fields are essentially, they talk about, hey, when you get down there, it's all space. There's nothing there. It's all space. But energy fields are essentially presence. That what an energy field is any point in that field is potential, and that field is reporting back its status to contribute to the homeostasis. You hear that? I'm saying an energy field is totally conscious, and that consciousness is just in the same way that your body is an energy field. The sympathetic nervous system is that feedback mechanism. That in your body, the sympathetic nervous system is always connecting the periphery to the core in the most profound and total process of self-correction. You can feel the tiniest, you come up against a cactus with the tiniest thorns, and you can feel that tiny little thorn prick, and you can feel the tiniest imbalance of a spice or an energy in an environment, and so your sympathetic nervous system has this ability on every dimension of your energy to bring that back to the core, to feed that back. It can feed back the impact of every food or every mood or every environment, that it's so profoundly sensitive. So we're saying that energy fields are essentially cognizance, that energy fields are essentially awareness. So we're making a difference between awareness and consciousness. Nisargadatta says awareness is that without an object. And as soon as it has an object, it becomes consciousness. So you are essentially awareness, which is the all-pervasiveness of the absolute, the all-pervasiveness of Brahman as pure creative intelligence, as pure awareness, the ability to know, the ability to see, the ability to realize. That energy fields are fields of awareness that in each moment are able to take that awareness directed towards the field and then bring that back to the source to self-correct in this cybernetic mechanism. This is what we're all doing in each moment. We have purpose in our life, and we are self-correcting with each breath as we find it contributes or detracts from that purpose in our journey. So when we're talking about our energy field, I have this really telling graphic from Daniel Winters. I've been showing it for years, and it shows how energy fields nest within each other, how the atoms align with the molecules, align with the cells, align ultimately with the cosmos, because everything is, the universe means one coil. That we're all, because everything is alive and breathing, everything is attuned to this one breath, the breath of Brahman. You think you're breathing, actually life is breathing you. So here we live in this ocean of life force, and every moment life is breathing you, unfolding its creative potential through you, that you are the cutting edge of the unfolding of the creative potential of the universe, and that everyone and everything is the unfolding of life and its creative potential, that you're the cutting edge of the evolution of the cosmos. No wonder it's a little challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Up against the windshield of evolution. So the golden ratio.
Just spiral.
The archetypal form underlying the life breath of a living universe. All energy radiates from the source into the field, aligned with this universal coil, the universal.
How it is that we get this inversion of the large world into the small, idealized, what is called the spiral. So we can get this. This is one spiral seen through 4 views. The top left is a top view. And then to the right, we have 2 different side view. Bottom left is another side view. And bottom right is an oblique view. And then we begin to revolve this spiral, and we get a cup shape. The cup is infinitely recursive. You can zoom into it. First, let's turn it around. Let's see different viewpoints of the cup.
Here it's infinitely recursive.
We can see a cup inside a cup.
Every atom meshed into every molecule, meshed into every cell, every breath is one with the cosmos.
The definition of consciousness is recursion, sense of the term.
So this recursion at the speed of light is consciousness. And from from the DNA to the galaxy, it's one breath, one life.
The sense here is that light cone going down concentric dodecahedron 60 degree, which we use to ratchet into this form, the Grail cone, is the same dodeca that ratchets to make DNA, so that really it is the genetic material itself that was referred to mythically as the cup, the grail, that holds the light, the memory, because it is the idealization of the path for this recursion. So that the gene pool itself is this recursive embedded cup that allows us to catch the light with what flows like lightning in our very bloodstream.
So we're talking about the life breath of a living universe and how from the DNA to the galaxy, universe means attuned to one coil. And this coil is measured by the golden ratio spiral, which is the mathematics of the life breath of a living universe. And the infinite recursiveness is how atoms nest into molecules, nest into cells, nest into organs, nest into organisms, nest into the life of the earth, how the earth entrains with the solar wind and the rhythms of the solar system out into our galaxy and out into the universe, that the universe is a living, breathing, conscious being. So I want you to direct your attention to your consciousness right now, to your presence right now, because you are that. And here we are. There's only one of us here through all of these bodies and through all time and space. And it's right here in your cognizance, right here in your presence, right now. Unborn, undying, everywhere, always, eternal, ever and ever and ever. Well, my friends, I feel like that's probably enough input for one day. Sandra, what's our homework for this week? Dear
week.
Divine Mother in Resonance.
I think that the mantras for me allows me to be there in the forefront of it all, allows me to be vulnerable. And because if you've never, it's it can be tricky, because it's Sanskrit, and but I love the not that I have it remember the visual of it, and the pronunciation is so important, because you could just be off one and it means a whole different thing. So I think listening to the mantra, really, saying it in your mind, really pay attention to the pronunciation, because I know back in the Vaishnava, they're all about pronunciation, because they'd rather you just listen instead of just saying what you think it is,
Yeah.
Because you can really mess up the whole mantra.
They're very strict. They're very strict.
Yeah, they're very strict. So that's how I learned it. And I think it's listening is very good. And because and shouldn't, and because it can be an overwhelming thing, but it'll just settle. It just settles within you. And when you feel comfortable, then you speak it, but the visual that you have is wonderful. But pay attention to pronunciation. I think and focusing on the mantra this week, and sitting in that space afterwards, allowing yourself the space afterwards to sit within that is very revealing in itself. That's what I'm always doing, but for those that are new to it, I think listening is, and even, and also like, during the week, I think that if we are triggered, to just, not react, just let that, whatever came at you, just let that feel, just resonate where it is. because I've noticed that when you don't respond, you don't make it real.
Yeah.
And people, especially when they're like in that right away, that passion and that mode that they're right, when you don't respond and you go into the breath and you take those 3 elongated breaths, they're able to witness that and ask themselves, well, what did I just say? Or why didn't this person react? It gives an opportunity to feel what it is they're putting out there. And you don't have to be that reactive person right away. You're giving them the space to sit with that too, so that's a reflection for others, amongst our day.
Thank you.
That is what I think should be homework.
Again, thank you for your wisdom, dear goddess. Thank
Jai
you.
Ma, Jai Ma. All
And
mother.
as you were talking about, how important it is in, to really listen and to study, to learn the correct pronunciation of the Sanskrit, I was thinking about, also very important in any mantra is the meaning, that if you're having trouble with the Sanskrit mantra, you might just make a mantra for yourself, in which you just say, I love you, goddess. I love you, goddess. I love you, goddess. I really love you, goddess.
Those affirmations.
That kind of a mantra, that doesn't have to be in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
You can caress your own mantra and tune it into a part of your being, and the fact that it's in your own language that you've spoken your whole life, and it means something to you, and that you just really speak it. Find that inner child, find that most vulnerable part of your being, and just really caress her with all this wisdom and love. And my life has been devoted to rescuing you. My life has been devoted to rescuing you. That's the truth of our journey.
Yes.
Your liberation, your wholeness, your freedom, your well-being, that this is my dharma, that you can feel safe in the vulnerability that you are, and the unique reflection of the mother and her beautiful and infinite part that you are.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Thank you, dear mother, for your wisdom and your compassion and your grace that illuminates our life in every breath. Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Victory to the goddess, victory, goddess.
Victory to the goddess.
Thank you so much for being a part of our circle. Goddess bless.
Goddess bless.
Thank you.
Bye, Heidi. Nice to see you. Welcome.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Namaste. And how Prabhu would say,
Namaste.
namaste.